there, my name is Hydo, and welcome to the Pantheon, where today we're diving into some humans. Sounds a bit weird, actually, now that I'm saying it. We're looking at humans, which sounds weird as well. Humans are being observed in a neutral and... Anyway, the card that we're talking about is Kyla, Sigardian Emissary. 5 mana for a 2-2. Boo, terrible start. Human cleric, whenever another human enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1-1 counter on Kyla, Sigardian Emissary. Other humans you control get +1/+1 for each counter on Kyla. So this is very much, you want to build a lot of humans, you want to play a lot of humans, your humans can attack, this gets absolutely massive, possibly you could kill someone with commander damage, or all of your little human tokens that you're making just absolutely annihilate your opponent. Really, really quite a cool card, and it's not just +1/+1 counters. It could be any sort of counter. Fate counters, time counters, Ulamog counters. I don't know if that's been printed, but maybe it should be. Anyway, before we get into it, let's subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe. I'm going to be making videos like this for every single legendary creature, so come and join me on the journey. Without further ado, let's dive into my top 5. And at number 5, well, what have we got? Well, we've got a human. Who would have thought it? Because you want to fill the deck with humans, and these humans, you want them to, maybe give counters to themselves, give counters to other things, make sure that, we're getting a lot of value from playing all these humans. And this one, Catilda, I think, Dawnheart, Optimus Prime, is a 2-mana 1/1 with protection from werewolves. Who cares? Then it's a human creature you control. Have, tap, add 1 mana of any mana of that creature's colours. Oh, my face fell to pieces and my throat exploded there. Sorry about that. 6 mana and tap it, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. So that spreads it out nicely. We want to be getting counters, yes, on our commander, but also onto all of our dogs, because we're going to be playing a lot of small creatures that, maybe get buffed by our commander. So playing token strategies is good, and allowing all of our humans to tap for mana is incredible and really accelerates you in the game. Because our commander is 5 mana, so, it might not sound much, but you want to get that out and then maybe play a couple of other things. So turning every human into a mana dog is fantastic. Then we've got Deranged Outcast, 2 mana for a human rogue. 2/1, pay 2, sacrifice a human, so he eats his friends. Put 2 1/1 counters on target creatures. So this could be our commander to make this into like a 4/3. Ooh, absolutely fantastic. We're going to have a lot of little tokens knocking around, so this can become massive by itself. Then Gideon's Avenger, 3 mana 2/2. Whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes tapped, put a 1/1 counter on Gideon's Avenger. So our opponents, they're going to be tapping their creatures for mana, attacking maybe us, maybe our opponents, but this will grow and grow and grow. And yes, it's not giving counters to our, commander, but maybe there's ways to give those counters to our commander. Anyway, this is a really cool card and it works excellently in the deck. Then there's Juniper Order Ranger. 5 mana for a 2/4 human knight with a lovely piece of artwork. I've always loved that nice tundra look. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on that creature and a 1/1 counter on Juniper Order Rangers. So a great way of just getting counters across the board. All of your creatures are going to come in with 1/1 counters, and then we can possibly take advantage of that. But if you have some creatures without counters, Arcus Acolyte is a 2 mana 2/2 with reach and lifelink, and has Outlast for a green or a white. So you tap it and put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Outlast only is a sorcery. Each other creature you control without a 1/1 counter on it has Outlast. So this can start up, your creatures, getting those counters on, and then maybe we can buff them, do loads of cool things with it. Then the brand new card here, Heronblade Elite. 3 mana 1/1 with Vigilance. It's a human warrior. Whenever a human enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it. So very similar to our commander. And tap it to add X mana of any one colour, where X is its power. That's pretty goddamn good. If you get a lot of tokens out, suddenly this is an 8/8. You tap 8 mana, you've got a whole swath of things you can do. Swath is the word of the day. I'm going to swath this next card over here. Dragon's Guard Elite is a 2 mana 2/2 with Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery spell. Anyway, you put a 1/1 counter on it. Then you can pay 6, double the number of 1/1 counters on it. So If you built up a bunch of 1/1 counters through various means, this can become a massive threat just by itself. Which brings me on to number 4. And at number 4, there's ways to double counters, because we're going to be spreading counters around. Our commander's going to get a ton of counters. Let's double them using Pure Imaginative Rascal. 3 mana for a human 1/1. Partners with Toothy, but Toothy's blue, so we can't go and get it. If one or more counters will be put on a opponent your team controls, that many plus 1 of that many counters on kinds of counters are put on that opponent instead. So with all these things that are giving, 1 counter every now and again, it's going to give 2. Although it is a bit weak, so if something's giving 7, it only gets 8. However, if you're playing something like Vorinclex Monstrous Raider, who's a 6 mana 6/6 with Trample and Haste, it reads, sadly not a human, although it looks a bit like a couple of my ex-girlfriends. No, it doesn't. Anyway, if you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. And if an opponent would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, put half that many of each of those counters on that permanent player, rounded down. So this is a fantastic card, and it's basically doubling season on legs. 5 mana for an enchantment. If effect would create 1 or more tokens. Don't care that much about that. Although we've got a couple of token synergies in here. We're going to be making a lot of human tokens. And if an effect will put 1 or more counters on a permanent you control, it puts twice that many of those counters on that permanent instead. Ooh, fantastic. We're going to be doubling things. Our commander, when things come in, double, 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 double. And then suddenly all our huge humans are ridiculously large. Then there's Branching Evolution, 3 mana for an enchantment. If 1 or more 1/1 counters will be put on creature control, twice that many 1/1 counters put on that creature instead. Lovely, really builds up your team magnificently. Then I've got this wrong, it seems, because we've gone to number 3. I thought there was going to be a few more there. Sorry about that. So in at number 3, we've got lots of token makers here, increasing devotion. 5 mana for a sorcery, create 5 1/1 white human creature tokens. If the spell were cast from your graveyard, create 10 of those tokens instead. Jesus Christ! And it's flashback for 9 mana. So with our commander on the field, we cast this. Our commander gets 5 +1/+1 counters. All of these are 6/6s, so 5 mana for 5 6/6s. Yeah, I'd play that card. I'm not going to lie to you. It's pretty good. Then you flashback it. 9 mana for 10 11/11s. Good God, what are we doing with our lives? This card is phenomenal in the deck. Here's a couple of other token makers. So we got Elspeth Sun's Nemesis. 4 mana for a 5-loaded planeswalker. -1. Up to 2 target creatures you control each get +2/+1 until end of turn. Not great, but it might end up killing your opponent. Then -2, create 2 1/1 white human soldier tokens. And -3, gain 5 life. So the -2 is where we want to be with this, creating a bunch of tokens, growing our commander, growing them, and that's an excellent bit of defense for that. But you can also escape this card for 6 mana and exile 4 cards from your graveyard to cast it for its escape cost. So it comes back, and then we can start minusing again, make a bunch of more things. So this is a planeswalker that we don't mind killing. Then we've got Adeline Resplendent Cathar. 3 mana for a star 4, Vigilance Human Knight. Power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. So with all these token makers we've got, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And whenever you attack, for each opponent, create a 1/1 white human creature token that's tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control. So every time something attacks, doesn't just have to be this commander. Commander, my God, no. Well, I have made a video for this anyway. So whenever this attacks, if our commander's on the field, we're going to get 3 counters on our commander, and all of our humans, these tokens included, will get +3/+3. That's insane. Our commander is a ridiculous, ridiculous buff. Then there's Visions of Glory. 5 mana for a sorcery. Create a 1/1 white human creature token for each creature you control. Flashback for 10 mana. Ah, Christ. Although it will only be 5 mana because our commander costs 5 and it reduces by 5. 5, 5, 5, 5. So this is fantastic. Yes, you have to have a board state, but it works great with itself. So 5 mana the first time, 5 mana the second time, and you're going to double the tokens that you've just made. Although it might be 0, so don't cast it when you've got no creatures. That's a life lesson for you. But if you're casting it with Cathar's Crusade on the field, dear God, everything's going to be ridiculous. This is a great version of our commander. 5 mana for an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. So we're just going to spread the love, create a bunch of 1/1 counters on everything we have on the field, and just go to war, just attack, attack, attack. Incredible card, works fantastic with our commander because it also gives the counters to our commander. So it's going to be doubly as effective if our commander's on the field. Amazing. Then, with all these 1/1 counters we've been spreading around, this isn't a human, but it's a Hamza, Guardian of Arashin, who's an elephant warrior. 6 mana for a 5/5. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. So potentially a 2 mana 5/5. Anyway, creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. So that part is actually really good. If our commander gets killed and we have 5 creatures with 1/1 counters, reduce that cost massively. Just 2 mana commander. 2 mana 2/2. Ooh, amazing. But this card is fantastic in the deck. Then it's a cat monkey. It's a 2 mana 0/0. It enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may move any number of 1/1 counters from Scrounging Bandar onto another target creature. So that's just really cool. Just if we build up a lot of counters on this, we can shift them over to our commander, something like that. Which brings me on to number 2. And at number 2, we've got Emil the Blessed. Emil doesn't seem like a very unicorn name to me. Emil, I feel like it'd be someone working in a server room or something like that. Anyway, 4 mana for a 4/4 unicorn. Pay 3, exile another target creature you control, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control. So that's fantastic because a lot of ways of giving counters, we could have it be, enter the battlefield effects, things like that. And our commander triggers anytime a creature enters, not just when it's cast or, anything like that. So if we flicker like a human, we're going to get at least another 1/1 counter, maybe something more if we've got one of the doubling effects. Then, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if you may pay a green or a white. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on it. If it's a unicorn, put 2 1/1 counters on it instead. My God. But that's just a really cool way of getting the counters on there. This card fits perfectly into the deck. Although I think it's quite expensive at the moment and you can't get it in foil. So essentially, it's not worth anything, in my opinion, but cool card. Then, a great card here. It's a sort of flickerer. It's a Yannick Scavenging Sentinel. 4 mana for a 3/3. It partners with Nikara, Lair Scavenger, who's black, so we can't play her in this deck. And Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, exile another creature you control until Yannick leaves the battlefield. When you do, distribute X 1/1 counters among any number of target creatures where X is the exiled creature's power. So with all of these sort of big creatures that we've got, we could be exiling it with this. All the counters go onto our commander, making everything massive. Yes, this is a hyena beast, so this isn't going to be massive, but it works fantastically. And then when this dies or leaves the battlefield, maybe we flicker it, the creature comes back, does its triggers, then it comes back in, blah, 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 blah. You can just keep distributing counters everywhere. Then this is a cool card because when I first read it, I thought the ability was when you cast it, but it's not. It's when it enters the battlefield. So if you play this out early, you can flicker it, bring it back in, and then pay the 2 mana over and over again to bring all the counters and help all of your creatures. So it's a lifelinker, and when it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 any number of times. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many Valor counters on Intrepid Adversary. Creature control get +1/+1 for each Valor counter on Intrepid Adversary. This is a human that does a solid impression of our commander, but it's very mana intensive. So it's cool that, with flickering and things like that, we could make it even better. Then there's the Selfless Squire. 4 mana for a 1/1. Ooh, wow. And it's a human soldier with flash. So when it enters the battlefield, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you this turn. So, this can help save you from a board wipe, not a board wipe, just someone attacking you in with loads of damage. But whenever damage would be dealt to you, whenever damage that would be dealt to you is prevented, put that many 1/1 counters on Selfless Squire. Easy sentence, I got through it. So this itself can be absolutely colossal, and it's really good to flicker because we can just keep using it over and over again, so it fits excellently into the deck. Then there's Livio Oathsworn Sentinel, 2 mana for a 2/2. You can pay 2, choose another target creature its controller may exile it with an Aegis counter on it. Cool. And pay 3 and tap it. Return all exiled cards with Aegis counters on them to the battlefield under their owner's control. So this is just a great way to protect all of your creatures. And they can re-trigger all their enter the battlefield effects. It's just nice. It's just nice. Just leave a lot of mana open. You're going to be happy. Then there's Ghostway. 3 mana for an instant. Remove each creature you control from the game. Return those creatures to play under their owner's control at end of turn. So yes, it kills all of our tokens, but this is really there to help save us from board wipes. And then we can re-trigger any enter the battlefield we got. And then this has absolutely nothing to do with enter the battlefield effects. It's just Oblivion Stone. And our commander cares about counters. He doesn't care what counters. So pay 3, it's an artifact. Pay 4 and tap it. Put a fate counter on target permanent. So we can put a fate counter onto our commander. And that'll buff all of our humans. I just thought that was a really cool interaction. And then pay 5, tap, sacrifice it, destroy each null-land permanent without a fate counter on it. So we can save a couple of our creatures, you know, really, really awesome. And that brings me on to number 1. And at number 1, it's the best card for this commander. It's Slippery Bondbogger. Bogbonder. 4 mana for a 3/3 with Flash and a Hexproof. When it enters the battlefield, put a Hexproof counter on target creature. So more than likely, this is going to be saving our commander from some targeted removal spell. But then, move any number of counters from among creatures you control onto that creature. That's insane. With all of those counters that we've built up across all of our creatures, we just flash this in response, make our commander absolutely massive. And the best thing is, this is a human. It fits so well into the deck. It's amazing. And the artwork is lovely. Look at her. That sort of slippery bogle thing's helping her. But she seems to be wearing its friend's head as a hat. It's very sinister. Then, similarly, we got Forgotten Ancient. 4 mana for a 0/3. Whenever a player casts a spell, put a 1/1 counter on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may move any number of 1/1 counters from Forgotten Ancient onto other creatures. So you can dump them on all onto your commander, have an absolutely enormous board state, swing, or you could put it onto something like Champion of Lamholt. 3 mana for a 1/1, creatures with power less than Champion Lamholt's power, can't block creatures you control. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on this. So very similar to our commander, but this is fantastic and just allows you to get in with all of those massive creatures. Possibly you could kill someone with commander damage. Then there's the Ozolith. 1 mana for a legendary artifact. Whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on Ozolith. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if the Ozolith has counters on it, you may move all counters from the Ozolith onto target creature. So that's incredible, not only with, you know, just our creatures dying in general, but flickering our creatures, all those counters onto this. In the middle of combat, or the start of combat, the beginning, if you will, you move them onto our commander and just swing in with all of our massive humans. And those are my top 5 cards for this commander. Really, really quite cool. Everyone loves a human. Well, some people don't, and, you know, they end up murdering people and stuff like that. So don't do that in real life, but, anyway, this segment's going a bit weird. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you like it, please do, well, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.